Much anticipated memorandum from the House Intelligence Committee. Republican lawmakers who've read the document say it details shocking corruption and collusion at the highest levels of the FBI and the Department of Justice. And yet, Speaker Paul Ryan already pouring, some skepticism on its findings, saying Republicans shouldn't overplay their hand.
I think Rod Rosenstein's doing a fine job. Rod Rosenstein was hired after this last election. I think the people at the FBI, at the DOJ, need to clean their own house if there are problems in their own house.
Unbelievable. Ryan defending Rosenstein, even though it was Rosenstein who appointed Robert Mueller to lead the Russia collusion investigation, knowing that he was close friends with fired FBI Director James Comey. Then Rosenstein allowed Deputy FBI Director Andrew McCabe to remain in his post, ignoring his many ties to the Clintons. Perhaps most damaging of all, the left-wing New York Times says the FISA memorandum will show it was Rosenstein who approved a request to extend the surveillance of Trump associate Carter Page based on information contained in that phony, democratically funded Trump dossier. My first guest tonight says President Trump should walk into the House chamber tonight and hand Speaker Ryan a letter approving the release of the memorandum right before he begins his State of the Union address. Joining us tonight, Congressman Matt Gaetz, who serves on a number of key committees, including Judiciary, Budget, and Armed Services. Congressman, great to see you. Like all of us, I'm sure, anticipating the president's remarks tonight. What are the odds of him, giving that letter to Speaker Ryan?
Well, the great thing about Donald Trump is you never can quite script him. We do know that the White House has put out statements in support of those of us who've been fighting for transparency and openness. And so there's no doubt where the White House is and where the president is. And I think there'd be no better way to kick off the State of the Union speech tonight than to announce that he will release the memo and expose the corruption that has to be cleaned up, Lou.
Well, I would be delighted, Congressman, as I know millions and millions of Americans would be. There is in this a certain calculus that I find interesting because it's a judgment on the part of the White House that this memorandum is not lurking over all of the subjects that will be discussed tonight. No one in the country, in my judgment, is more interested in any issue above that of the integrity of our Justice Department, the FBI, and what this memorandum reveals. And everyone is frankly just waiting for that memorandum to be released. With that anticipation, maybe there's a little miscalculation on the part of the White House.
Well, I can tell you that whether it's Republican offices or Democrat offices here on Capitol Hill, 8 or 9 out of every 10 calls are constituents demanding the release of this memo. The American people want to see what their government's been up to. The American people want to know the extent to which politics has infected the highest levels of our government. And most importantly, we want to know where the cancer is so that we can carve it out and move forward with reforms that make sure that this never happens again in either Republican or Democratic administration. So the people want it, the Congress wants it, and the president's usually pretty good at reading the pulse of the American electorate, and I suspect he will act swiftly, if not tonight.
Yeah, certainly we hope so. I want to turn to, if we may, just one of the excerpts from the president, get your reaction. If we can put that up on the screen right now, the president will say, struggling communities, especially immigrant communities, will also be helped by immigration policies that focus on the best interest of American workers and American families. Your reaction, I mean, this is, first of all, I think a sentence whose syntax is a little strained and could be more eloquent, whoever the writer was. But what sense does this make? He's talking about unifying the country, and he begins with struggling communities and starts dividing the country. I mean, this is old, if you will, liberal, hackneyed language.
Well, I think that the president always, throughout the course of his campaign, talked about an America where everyone could do better. And the folks on the political left, they have to divide the country. You see, Lou, they don't want an immigration solution. They want to keep immigration around as an issue to rally their base and divide Americans. So I think the president is working on a way to unify Americans, but I would warn him, this was not an election about DACA. If this was an election about DACA, Hillary Clinton would have won it. This was an election about the rule of law and border security, and I'll be listening for those border security themes tonight and to ensure that we really preserve the rule of law in our immigration system and have a system that works for America first, not the rest of the world.
Yeah, I well said, Congressman. And the truth is, DACA was in the campaign. It was President Trump saying no DACA. It was President Trump saying no amnesty. It was President Trump saying build the wall. Based on what I've heard from the White House so far, I don't think that we're going to hear anything about a wall. We're going to hear about trust funds that don't have money, and there's no trust for such schemes. And if he disappoints the base or betrays the base, there's going to be hell to pay come November.
Well, you're absolutely right. People voted for this president because they were tired of seeing their hard-earned tax dollars go in the form of entitlements to illegal aliens. It costs our country over $100 billion a year, Lou, and that's why it's so important to make sure that we focus on E-Verify. We focus on ending chain migration. We focus on ensuring that we don't build magnets that draw people across our borders illegally. And I do think that we'll hear about the wall tonight, about the need to ensure that that's a critical component of our immigration reform strategy, but we absolutely cannot accept as a premise that we're going to do amnesty today and enforcement tomorrow. My voters won't accept that, and I don't think the president's voters will either.
And I hope the president won't suggest such a thing. That would be disappointing to all of us.